across Texas, across the country, throughout the world. Wherever you are watching this Facebook live stream from, all of us here in Oak Cliff, Texas, wish you well. We're at the Elevate Studio, art studio, gallery, working space, really kind of a beautiful place right here in Oak Cliff. And we're going to have a chance to have a conversation with some truly beautiful people that I had the chance to meet yesterday. I was in a neighborhood with the Texas Organizing Project, as some of you know it as TOP, yesterday, called Los Altos in West Dallas. And there we met Julian, we met Raul, we met other neighbors, where as TOP does every day, every year, whether there's an election or not, we were out meeting with people to understand what was most important to them in their lives. And it doesn't have to be a traditional political issue. It can just be what's important in their neighborhood, what's important for their family, and what's important to them individually. So a lot of great conversations, a lot to learn, and we got to do it with some great people. I'm going to do a technical check with Cynthia because I see her texting with ground control. Is everything okay? Yep, great. We're good. I just want to make sure that we're okay to transmit. I mentioned the Texas Organizing Project. We've had the chance to watch their work over the last decade as they've helped to transform Texas, giving voice to underserved and underrepresented communities. And I was just talking to one of the great TOP organizers, David, earlier. And David said, we will do some work around elections, around making people aware of the candidates and the issues, the polling places, ensuring that they can overcome barriers to voting. But really the work that we're most proud of begins the day after the election, when we continue to engage with people all over the state in communities like Oak Cliff and West Dallas and San Antonio and Houston and other places, so that, because I know a lot of you get frustrated with this, the voter organizations, the politicians, the candidates, the parties, they show up when they want our vote, but then where are they? TOP's not like that. TOP shows up every single day, and they're one of the greatest forces for positive change in the state of Texas. So we were so lucky to be able to knock on doors with them. And then there was this amazing support team as we were knocking on doors and as we were listening to and meeting voters who had water for us on a very hot, humid day, who had some snacks in case we needed some calories and some sugar in our system. And I thought, that was powerful enough that they were there to support us as we were knocking on doors and listening. But when I had the chance to meet Lucille, when I had the chance to meet Julie, when I had the chance to meet Michael, and just begin to learn their stories, I said, is there any chance that we could meet tomorrow morning and share this with our family on Facebook Live, on Twitter, on our other platforms? And so I want to thank you, Julie. I want to thank you, Lucille. I want to thank you, Michael, for spending the time with us. And I would love, if we could begin with you, Julie, would love for you to introduce yourself. I know we had a chance to meet and talk yesterday, but introduce yourself to those who are watching. We're going to be talking about justice in America, justice in Texas, justice in your life. And I'd love for people to get a chance to learn a little bit about you, and then we'll continue the conversation around the table.
Well, I also want to thank you so much for, being here and also supporting Texas Organizing Project. So my name is Julie Vasquez. I live here in Arcadia Park. It's right. I still consider it Oak Cliff or West Dallas, however they want to see it. And so I'm fifth generation Texan. We experienced a traumatic experience. My son was wrongly convicted of murder in 2001. He served 17 years. He was given a life sentence and served 17 years in prison for a murder he did not commit. I can say I'm thankful. My faith has got us through this. My son was exonerated actually May 2018. He wasn't officially exonerated until 2019. And it was, he's the second person in Dallas County to be exonerated without DNA evidence. And that changed my life. I met David. I got involved with Texas Organizing Project. I believe in everything that TOP does. and meeting Miss Spencer, and being able to relate to her, as well as we're like sisters. She's like a mother, but it was a very difficult experience for me. I was a single mother of 6 children. He was my oldest. Had just turned 21, and because I didn't have the finances, because I couldn't afford $15,000-$20,000 to pay on a good attorney, this happened. And I want to say that for us, our Black and Brown community, it's not innocent until proven guilty. It's you're guilty until proven innocent. And why so many people are incarcerated right now, sitting in Dallas County Jail, that because they can't afford bail, they've not been convicted. And that's how it starts. It starts with our policies. It starts with everything that goes against us because we're not fortunate enough to afford that. We're not entitled. So it's just a little bit about myself.
Julie, you mentioned that your son was only the second person to be exonerated without DNA evidence in Dallas County. What was key to his exoneration? How was he able to prove his innocence, and how were you all able to help free him from this injustice?
So, I'm very grateful for my family. My sister and brother-in-law worked a lot on his case. Of course, I had other children to take care of, but it was because the actual murder, he confessed to the murder. He confessed to have been the one that had murdered because he was on death row, and he wanted to get it straight and make sure that my son didn't do life. I mean, I believe that there is definitely a work in God that allowed him to confess, but it was not the DA, it was not the integrity unit in Dallas County, because there had been appeals, there had been writs, there had been so much that we were pushing for. But bottom line, it was that he confessed, and he could collaborate the people that were there that said, this is what happened on that day. So my son did 17 years. And it was not DNA. They could not prove his innocent. And by the grace of God, this happened. But that was the reason. And there's so many cases that goes the same way. There's people in prison that are innocent and get executed for, the same reasons. And so, yeah, it was difficult. But, it was difficult to see him have to be put to death, on death row. For him to have gone through that, my compassion, my heart goes out to his family as well. But this is something that we have to make changes. There has to be more to be done to change these policies. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice, the laws, the judge, everything, and everybody plays a key role. So
I'm so grateful that you are willing to share this story. And I'm so grateful that you have your son back.
Yes.
And that despite the 17 years and the injustice that you mentioned yesterday when I was talking to you, you said that your son is actually doing so well. Yeah. And I was struck, and I mentioned this to Brianna, one of the great Texas Organizing Project organizers and leaders. I said, there's so much grace in the way that you tell this story. And you are clearly interested in other families and other people in a similar predicament. You mentioned Ms. Lucille Spencer, who's also with us, and you said you formed a bond with her, and she became a leader and a mentor to you. And so, Ms. Spencer, I wonder if you wouldn't mind sharing your story. I know that you at any point that you want to refer to this, you have prepared a book that we can actually look through that has some of the pictures of your son here. But first of all, thank you for being with us. And please feel free to share with us your story and your son's story.
Number one, I'm glad to be here. First of all, I thank God for allowing me to be here, allowing me to still be a mom at 82 years old amongst you all. I tell everybody, I'm not out here fighting for just being Spencer only. My heart is open to all people, black, white, pink, blue, whatever color. Number one, we're all one, and we all need the same things in our lives. We don't need the stuff that we're going through. Number one, they say you're guilty. You're innocent until proven guilty, but it's just the opposite. You're guilty till you're proven innocent. I can say this because my son has been locked up now for 34 years. Well, he's not out right now. He got out on March the 12th. He'd been locked up 34 years before they decided to let him come home and say that right now he's on a PR bond and he's still under the laws of the Texas land or everywhere with the law. Which this is one of the things that if the Lord let me live long enough, I am fighting for him to be done away with. Because if you don't have, my son there's no evidence of my son killing this guy, but they're saying that he killed him. And as Miss Julie said, they don't tell you this when you get locked up, that if that person don't come forth and tell you that he did this, your child is not free. Yes. They don't tell you this. And this is one of the things I would love to work on, is to let them know if the person is innocent, let him go. Make sure you have the right person, number one, before you lock them up.
That's right.
Because once you lock them up, their life is gone down the hill just as well as your life. Number two, I was told from the get-go that the information that we needed was in the DA's office.
In Dallas County?
In Dallas County. And how I got the information was from a lady that worked for one of the auxiliaries thing. And she was in the office today. They were in there talking about my son's case. And so she knew this, and she come back and she told me, she said, "Can I get to see your son?" I said, "Yeah, I'll see what we can do." So I took him down to took her down with me that night to see him. And she told him, she said, "Your information is in that first case," which it was. This was in 87, somewhere in 87, because they come back with the case and said that he was, they're supposed to drop the murder case and stick on him an aggravated robbery and give him a life sentence for it. So the first trial, they give him 35 years for killing the guy. When they dropped that, so they say. But when I looked at the paper afterwards, it says that he had to do 20 years before he could come up with parole, consecutive years before he could ever come up with parole. Well, if he didn't do anything, they dropped it, then how did he have to do 20 years? Number one, I also think about how they talk to me about it. At first, they'd come to my house and they would talk to me about Ben's case together. And then all of a sudden, they stopped talking to me. And I used to ask them, "This is awful funny. How we put people in jail and they talk to you as long as they can get information from you. But as soon as they figure like you're not going to get no more information, they stop talking to you." So we finally found some on the Innocent Project that said they would take his case 20 years later. So this particular time, Ben had to do 20 years before he could even come out or even talk to anybody about parole. So when time came for parole, they wouldn't let him out. They wouldn't. They said that he come up. That's when it come out, definitely that the information they was using was no good. That there was nothing to prove that he had killed the man. There was nothing to prove that he did anything. There was no DNA. There was fingerprints. The strangest thing about it, there were fingerprints. These fingerprints did not match my son. They did not match the guy that owned the car or he's supposed to kill. And anybody that touched about the case, they didn't match them. And the strangest thing, they didn't even match the man that owned the place, the man he's supposed to kill. So I want to know right today, and I've been asking this ever since, who did kill this man? If my son didn't kill him, then who did? And so someone talked to me about it, and they said, you know what? Unless your son come forward, or the man that killed him come forward and tell they did it, your son's not gonna get out. And the reason why he's not gonna get out, if they have say somebody else did it, and he don't say he did it, then your son, they're doing the same thing to him that he did to your son.
Hmm.
So this is a long story. It hasn't been an easy battle. This book here will show you some of the things I have went through down through the years. This young lady here this one here has been working, both of these people have been working with me ever since, off and on ever since '87.
Are they with the Innocence Project?
No. This one here started off, Dallas Can't Do Battle with Ben. A guy named Curry Max Cook introduced her to me back in '87. And she told me Ben had been in prison as long as she was old. On this page here, this is one of the TOPS member. Down through the 34 years I have worked with some of everybody. I worked with Amnesty International. I worked with the death penalty out of SMU. I also have talked with and been with Sister Helen Pregene with the death penalty people. I first started off with what is the company? The downtown black company. I can't think of the name right now. But anyhow, I first started off with them, and they told me that whenever I found out anything, let them know. And 34 years, almost 35, they have not talked to me about Ben's case.
Is this Ben?
This is Ben here.
This is Ben right here.
It's some more people back a little bit further. The little white-haired man that you saw a few minutes ago, and his wife.
This gentleman?
This is one of the guys started off with me back at SMU with when I was going out there. It was another man, it's quite a few of them in there that worked with me down through the years to help try to get Ben out. And so I finally one day met a girl from TOPS. Her name was Empress. Empress, she was out in the neighborhood where I'm staying with my daughter right now because my house needs to be some work done. And my house caught on fire in 15, the December 2015.
Your house caught on fire in
Yes.
2015.
Yes.
And someone after that from TOP had knocked on your door
Yes.
to check in and see how you were?
No, she was out canvassing, trying to get people to
On the education.
education. And I can remember TOPS back then. And so I've been working with them ever since. It's been 5 years.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
This is just a part of what, and like I said, I'm not only working for when I started this side in '87, I had started out two of the, Christina, what we call it Independence. Independence started me out with two Facebook pages, one for Ben, and it was Free Ben Spencer, and the other was up under me. And I told everybody, my pages is not for Lucille, our mentor, it's for Ben Spencer and anybody else that's been wrongfully incarcerated for something they didn't do. They're speak for them, and that's what I've been doing these things.
You know, one of the things that really struck me when I had a chance to meet you and listen to you yesterday is you said, I'm not only doing this for Ben, for my son, you said, I'm doing this for your kids.
Right.
I'm doing this for other people's kids.
Right.
I'm doing this for other families who have been or who might go through something like this.
Same thing I went through.
Yeah, and that struck me. That was very, very powerful. And I can tell just from listening to Julie what an influence and an impact you have had on her and others, other families who've experienced
There's
it.
plenty of them.
And I want to thank you for sharing that.
I'm still saying the same thing. I've almost died in April after I had the COVID. But I'm doing okay right now. But I tell everybody, I'm not fighting for just being. I'm fighting, well, to me, all is being. Your child is being, whether it's black, white, pink, green, whatever color, they're my kids. And that's what I'm fighting for, my kids.
We're lucky that you're fighting for all of us. Thank you.
I got to. I can't let you go.
Yeah. Michael, you were driving the support car yesterday. You had the trunk full of water and snacks that kept us going as we were knocking on doors and getting the chance to meet people and listen to people. And you were also very generous with me yesterday in sharing your story as well. And I wonder if you wouldn't mind, for those who joined us on Facebook and Twitter, if you wouldn't mind sharing your story and where you have been and where you are now.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. And my story is a little different from Julie and Miss Spencer. Their son was innocent and I was guilty, but I felt like I was mistreated in my sentence, and I received a life sentence at 17 years old.
You were 17 years old.
And for a crime that I didn't even hit anyone, shoot anyone, nothing violent. And I was sentenced to a life sentence and did more than 35 years in Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And it took a lot out of my life. I mean, it just destroyed it. It's where I thought that I didn't want to just get cut loose because I was guilty. I did a crime and I expected to pay for my crime, but I didn't expect to give my life. You know, I lost everything. I lost everything. I lost my mom. I lost my daddy. When I got out, I had never seen a cell phone before. I had never seen a big screen TV, never seen a microwave. My sister picked me up and she picked up the phone and she said, I got him. And I said, oh, she's working with the cops too, because I had never seen a cell phone. I'd never seen that little thing. And I thought it was so life was just, I mean, I feel like the system is not fair for minority. And I've seen a lot of Miss Spencers down there. I said, I can recall, I'm supposed to be talking about my life, but I can't, the things that I've seen in prison, the people that was wrongfully convicted, it's just something. I seen a guy that was accused of killing a cop that lived on the cell block with me, and he was in the kitchen one night and he was peeling potatoes, and all of a sudden he got the word that the guy that killed the cop they had arrested him, and he had done 20 years on that for killing the cop that he didn't kill. And so it's just, you know, it's just, it's something. God has blessed me, even though the system was against me because of my race. I mean, I couldn't afford bail, the bail system. If I could afford bail, I could have made it. But as a black, we just couldn't afford it. I come from a family, 8 kids, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a mom and a daddy. So it's no way my dad could put the house up to try to get me out. But if justice would have worked with us, things would have been better. I feel like I always tell people, if it wouldn't have been for the system, I would have beat Obama out. I'd have been the first black president, because I was very smart and I was a very good kid. Everybody liked me, but the system broke me down to be nothing, you know. And so it's just, you know, like I said, God bless me. I got out just to show you what a good guy I was. People followed me because they know that I was 35 years for a little crime. They gave me a job when I got out working demolition and construction. I made the Dallas Morning News. I got the article in the car. I was intending to bring it. In 3 months, I was supervisor. They told me, they said, the Spanish guys are not going to work with you. I said, yeah, they're going to work with me. They said, no, they're not going to work with you. So I walked over to them and I said, I don't know nothing about construction, but we're going to work together. And in the next few days, they was bringing me more tacos and tamales than I could eat. In 3 months, I was their supervisor. I was driving backhoes, SkyTrack, stuff that I had never even seen. God had worked in my life. But the system was designed to break me down. They was telling me what I couldn't do. The system tell you what you cannot do. And so many guys are being broke down and believing that they can't make it after that X is the end of it. And so I joined TOP. The way I joined TOP is because one day a guy knocked on my door. I never seen him before. I looked out the peephole. His name was Ed. When I let him in, he said, I'm from Top. And he told me what they did. And it wasn't about no election or this or that. It was showing me that they was about everything. They was about the kids in school. They was about the bullying. They was about everything. And so I said, well, this is something I would like to be a part of, Top. And so it's been over 3 years, and it's not a time they can call me to hit the streets that I jump out and I hit the streets because it's for a cause. It's for a cause. It's for a true cause. You know, it's not to try just to get better or elected. It's not just to try to for election. It's all the time. And the speaker, I'm not really just to lift Top up, but they have been good to me. As you can see, I'm on oxygen. And as you know, the power went out during the storm. But none of my politicians, Ambassador, no one came by. But Top came to my aid. Top came to my aid. They funded me with some stuff. And I mean, I was just grateful. They didn't owe me nothing, but they was to show me that they cared as a member. And not only me, they helped other people. And so I'm just glad to be out. I'll tell you that 35 years incarceration. I mean, you never know what it's like. And the main reason that I like him so much because of Curran and stuff is because I want somebody that I can talk to tell the truth about the incarceration, about what's going on in prison. They don't tell the people the truth about what's going on. How many people are dying? How many people are being mistreated? How many people are wrongfully convicted? No one knows it out here. They think that everybody in jail is did it, you know what I mean? And it's a lot of people that didn't do it. And all I want to do, as I told you yesterday, is spend my life fighting for those guys that can't fight for themselves, helping the homeless, telling kids about my story. I don't want nobody to go through what I went through. 35 years in prison. I mean, hey man, my life was just upside down. I didn't know if I was gonna make it the day after day. Food, everything was just, you know. And so, I mean, I thank God. It was a rough time. I'm not gonna say it wasn't rough. You know, I just think that our system needs overhauling because the judicial system is really messed up, and the truth never comes out. They tell you a little bit, but the truth, and people need to know the truth about what's really going on in there. And I mean, I just seen too much. I've seen so many people die, and I just thank God that I made it. I made it. It was like a battlefield. It's like the service that I made it. When I walked out, I told my sister, I said, take me to the cemetery, prison cemetery. I said, take me. And she said, why you want to go there? I cried. I just thank God that I had made it. You know, that I made it through. You know, it was, you know, because I don't understand it. You know, the system. I just don't understand the unfairness. My family don't understand it. Every time I have a relative that's called to jury duty right now, they won't go because they think about how I was wrongfully convicted. So they won't sit on a jury because they don't want to be a part of somebody being wrongfully convicted or somebody being over sentenced for some lesser offenses. And it's just that, Mr. Beto, that our system need to be overhauled. And I think that if our system can be overhauled, things can be better, you know, because the same people you see in Washington is the same people that's in prison that they are growing up to be them people. You know, they start off as a small group, Iron Brotherhood, this and that, and then they grow up and they come out and this other group snatch them in and now they at the Capitol, you know, and destroy. But if we can give them something to work with in prison to make them not want to be a part of nothing negative like that, to let them know that they can make it out here. Not to feed them the negative that they can't make it, so join us that things can be better. And our guys in prison can tell their kids and help their kids to be better. And their kids won't have to follow the footsteps of their mother and father in the prison, you know, because that's what's happening. A kid is following, everybody's following their own father and thinking, well, hey, it's okay. You know, my dad is making it. We went to see him and he's just as happy. Everybody knows him. Everybody likes him. The war and everybody likes him. But it's not like that. It's not like that. He comes out there shining like a star, where he pressed his clothes all night under his mattress, just so he can look good to his wife, where his kids come out with a smile, then go back behind those doors and cry. You know, it's not like that. It's not as happy as they, but they don't want their mothers to worry. They don't want their fathers to worry. So they have to come out with a fake smile so that they won't leave out crying, you know. You know, it's just it's just tough that the system is not working with people to make things better. And not only do the guy that's been convicted and in prison, it takes all the time. The family takes such a heck of a time.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't just convict the guy. You know, yeah, he did wrong. You know, but the family, you convict the family. You send the family through all kind of changes when you don't work with them and stuff like that. You know, and families, I've seen families die just going to visit the son, died on the freeway. You know, so the system is designed to put you in El Paso, but you live in Dallas. So your family have to travel there and take chances and stuff like that. And the system is just not right. I mean, I keep saying that, but it's just not right. You know, it's not fair to minorities. It's not fair to the minorities. And they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance for freedom. They don't have a chance to re get themselves together. Nobody's coming and nobody's trying to help them. You know, and you come out and cops, hey, you just got out of prison, huh? You know, so there you go again. You know, so I get really emotional when it comes to talking about prison. I mean, I can't talk about it, you know, without feelings because I've seen so much, you know, so much negative, so many people died and stuff like that. So it's hard.